welcome to Assorted Crackers. I'm Eric, and I'm here with Lee and Wilson, and today we have some special guests. Mark London and Lindsay Hopkins are here from the Cadre Experience, and if you don't know about the Cadre Experience, you're going to love this show because they've got a really cool and unique business model that we want to tell you about. So, Wilson, I know you kind of set these guys up and brought these guys in, so I'll let you kind of do a little bit more introduction.
No, thanks, Eric. So we've got Mark and Lindsay here, and they have a very unique company called the Cadre Experience, and it gives you just an unbelievable travel experience. And what they bring to the table is Mark has a 20-plus year military career, and 14 of those were spent as a B-1 bomber aviator. He was also on the presidential advance team. And so we just can't wait to hear about all that. And Lindsay brings her executive strategy history to the company to help plan and just execute all these fabulous trips. So I think what we want to do is just dive in.
Mm-hmm. Is it just you two guys, or is there another teammate?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having us. But yeah, we have a third, the thruple is completed with Rob. Rob's about as big as that door. He walks in. He sort of has these two faces. He's got his, nice smiley face, and then he's got his you don't mess with when Rob's on duty. You don't mess with Rob.
Well, Rob has a military background as well, and he does a lot of executive protection.
Why don't you tell me about Rob?
I want to hear about Rob.
Rob's our Swiss Army knife.
There you go.
So he's, 20 years.
Marine
Corps Special Ops, and then now currently does Special Warfare Training?
For JTACs in San Antonio.
Yeah, so he's pretty amazing.
So what does JTAC stand for?
Joint Tactical Air Controllers. They're the guys that bring the aircraft in, but they're embedded with special operations groups. So they have to be, all the way at that tier 1 level of special ops. So they integrate with them and they call in the bombers, the fighters.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
is there ever beef between, Air Force and Marines?
Well, only after a bourbon or two.
Well, if he's not here, and we're going to have a couple of bourbons today, we'll see what happens.
He can't defend himself, but he will make sure to lay it thick when he hears this. So, yeah.
So your entire business model is about really exclusive trips, and you focus on comfort and safety. Obviously, Rob has something to do with the safety part of it, but it really is just highly customized, highly curated, personalized trips. And I know your website has a few of the experiences, but talk a little bit about the kind of things you do for your clients and how you can help set something like this up.
Yeah. Well, we call it the presidential level travel service. And we sort of made that up, but it really, as we go round and round, after all these years, it's the best thing that sort of describes what we do. It's this elevated above luxury, above ultra luxury, the presidential level. And when the president travels, like I saw for those years, he says where he wants to go, and that's about it. Maybe the dates, maybe a little bit about the requirements of the meeting. And then there's this mechanism, this whole machine that stands up around him and his travel that help facilitate that, not only from a planning perspective, but also all of the safety features, all the logistics. You wouldn't believe the logistics train that has to occur, but it's obviously a complex movement. And he doesn't have the time, just like any of our clients, executives, family office members, corporations. They don't have the time or the bandwidth to put these trips together. And so by engaging with Cadre, we're able to do all of the planning, set up all the logistics, make sure that everything is secure. And we can do that anywhere in the world, whether we've been there before or whether we haven't. So...
Yeah, our network reaches across the world with all of the folks who we know and all of the military guys. Mm-hmm. So all the folks who work for us and with us are all like tier 1 operators, and they've been in the military. So there's a large footprint around, again, security and logistics.
Yeah. Sure. So is any of your trips like off the rack? Like I can go and pick this, that, or the other experience, or is it 100% customized?
I would say it's a combination. We don't ever tell a client no. If they want to go somewhere, it doesn't matter whether we've been there once or 5 times or 0 times. We say yes and we make it happen. Once we have done a trip, and we find that it has some success and maybe it's some it can be applicable in other circumstances. We keep a lot of, after action reports and notes and contacts so we can execute that pretty rapidly. The Hamptons come to mind. Mexico City comes to mind.
Lima.
We
just did. It's great.
Yeah. And it's, a lot of foodie kind of trips. And then we also do have these epic adventures that are one of a kind. Nobody else in the world can produce these. And these are, trips to Antarctica. These are James Bond for a day kind of trips. So we do have several.
Would you explain the James Bond? Because when you told me about that, everybody needs to hear how that works.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
And if you want to be the first, we haven't done it yet, but we have all the components. But let's in a weekend, you get picked up on a Friday at a speakeasy bar. You're whisked off to an airfield and you're briefed about how to do a halo jump, which is a high altitude, low opening jump from about 30,000 feet, a couple minutes of free fall. And
in tandem with someone.
Yeah, you're not we're not going to throw you out the airport.
Be careful.
So
Because you have safe trips.
There is
right?
all the safety and training. We do have to protect our clients. But then you land and you are exfilled to a secret cave in the middle of Arkansas. The next morning after, campfire and bourbon and telling stories, the next morning you're hiking out of the complex. You're going to do some whitewater fishing. Whitewater, what do you call it? Fly fishing. You guys know that better than I do. Fly fishing, yeah. And then we put you on a private jet to Vegas for one night of nightlife, do the Casino Royale kind of thing.
Man.
And then you're home by Sunday night. You're like, what the heck just happened to me?
Yeah.
And you've been James Bond for a day. And there's obviously a lot of surprises, twists, and turns to the plan that we have on that. But yeah.
We're going to talk after the show about some kind of a sponsor. We'll promote the heck out of Cadre if you would just let us experience this one time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the halo jump.
Yeah, we'll definitely need some fill-ins to sort of create that, casino environment, to tell some good stories.
I love
So
it.
you guys be first on the list.
But like with the Hamptons, like you went ahead and rented the cars and had one of y'all was a driver and you just make it
Effortless.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Thank
just,
you.
as a client, we obviously you've got that video on your website. You just show up and just everything's there.
Yeah, so not to give you all of our secrets, but the biggest thing that we do is we do an amazing amount of planning, and we do what we call as advance work. So we're going to be at the sites for 2 to 3 days prior. When we do that, we've run every single route. We've been to the hospital if we need, so we know how to get there. We've talked to every service provider. We have talked to the surf instructor to make sure it's the right one to mesh with the family. We do all of this work on the front end.
Yeah, we talked to the paddleboard company because we want to make sure that they don't operate under the viaduct. Which they do actually.
Yeah.
We operate in teams of 3 for logistics, security, and hospitality and concierge. So basically you get all of that advanced work where we're getting to know everybody ahead of the client getting there so that we understand every nuance that could possibly occur. We have contingencies upon contingencies. This all goes back to Mark's background for Air Force One Advanced. So we might have 3 restaurants on an itinerary, but we have 3 backups for each of those restaurants. The whole concept of this is that clients get to pivot while they're on their vacation as much or as little as they want. So I think every time we've done this, we've had at least 50 to 60% of the itinerary that's been changed while we were on trip.
On the spot.
Yeah.
Which makes it unique for a family traveling. Normally they might, if they want to make a change, it's like, oh, it's too much work. I don't know how to execute.
Right.
Or they may have to call their travel agency and whether they can do it or not, whether it's the right time zone or not based on their travel. But for us, we're in the seat right now.
Well, and I was going to say this. The other thing we haven't really mentioned is that we do the advanced work, which is obviously your background and all the security from Rob, but it's the execution that's on site. We're on trip with our clients, and so that's the component that's very different from what people are used to. Like there are a lot of high net worth individuals, a lot of family offices who use very high end luxury, ultra luxury travel advisors to plan their trips, but they're putting together great components, and it's seamless as far as the client is concerned to some degree, but they don't know what they don't know. And so they still show up, and their itinerary is planned from when they wake up to about 4:00 in the afternoon, but then they're on their own, and they don't have continuity of service for drivers. They don't have continuity of service for a concierge that's on the ground with them, except whoever might be available in the hotel. So like this team is on the ground with them throughout the duration of their trip, and we just sort of integrate, and it becomes sort of part of the offering.
Yeah, your military background has to be, because you always had to train for the unexpected, right? And you had to be, I mean everything I've read, and you have to always, know exactly where to pivot, when to pivot, and the right time, how you do that, and how you execute. So having multiple ways to do that, that's pretty cool. I mean, and I, as a person going on vacation, I don't plan like that.
Yeah.
No.
So this is amazing.
Yeah, we do have plan after plan, all the contingencies, the what ifs, and we talk about that when we're doing the planning phase. We talk about it while we're on the trip. And, like Lindsay was saying, when we are on a trip and execute, we have sort of a secret pipeline it's not secret, but a direct pipeline with the client, because Lindsay or her counterpart is embedded with the family, understanding how is the trip going from their perspective. Are they having a great time? Are they tired? Do they want to do more? Is it, not the right show that they want to do? She picks up on those by having these conversations, having this relationship with them. And then when she figures out there's a pivot that needs to happen real time, she types that into our app or radios it to us. And, then we do the logistics behind the scene, and we support all the movements that she is determined that the family wants. So it makes it really customizable, agile, flexible, all the things for the family real time.
So not only do you have corporate experience with Fortune 500 companies, you're also a barometer.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a woman, so that's my job.
Oh, there you go.
She's judging all of us right now.
Yeah. Of the group, I would have the highest emotional IQ.
All right. I'm sure you do today.
And it comes in very handy.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, I know the confidentiality is a big part of your business. We're not going to talk about client names, but I've got it. You've done so many adventures that I'm sure have a little bit of risk to them in some cases.
Sure.
So can you tell about maybe some close calls or some crazy moments, mishaps that didn't go as planned, that required some serious pivots, curveballs, if you will?
Yeah, probably one of the ones that comes to mind is the South Africa trip. We had 5-day notice for a family of 12 that wanted to do 3 events in 3 cities in South Africa.
Well, more events, but yeah.
Yeah. The lead, the dad, had work in Johannesburg. They had a 80th birthday party, and they had a wedding in like the west coast of South Africa. And they wanted, what was the term he used about not the cookie cutter kind of security? He wanted like the real deal.
Yeah, he felt, well, he had security for 8 to 10 years, but he had felt like that security started to become more touristy in nature because they weren't giving the right level of professionalism or like support based on the nature of his experience and his family.
Yeah. So 5 days notice. One of the days is traveling there because it takes forever to get there. We needed a couple of days of setup, but we were able to we're good at what we do, but
fantastic.
but we pulled it off. That was probably the one that was the biggest test. And, we ended up deploying in sort of a leapfrog kind of approach from one city to another. And then the, first team went to the third city so that we could handle that. We had host nation security and drivers to help us navigate the terrain with where, we're unfamiliar. We had 12 different private jet arrivals with the different family members because God forbid they come in together.
Goodness.
So we had to pick them all up and do, armored transport to the hotel, to the safe, their safety area. But to answer your question, the thing that was the most notable is there was this wedding, like I said, on the West Coast, and it was going to be an hour private jet flight and then a 2-hour caravan ride. And that transition point happened in a city where there was civil unrest. And it was getting to, their threats were that it was going to be pretty violent. And rather than putting them in the convoy, Rob, stepped in, and we sort of had some ideas about helo transports and that being an option. And Rob explained to the primary, the risks that were involved, and he pulled the trigger and did that. So within about 24 hours, we switched the caravan to a helo lift, and it avoided all of the risk. And we were able to sort of monitor that with, with the Department of State, kind of contacts that we have to understand the civil unrest that was occurring, and it avoided that major area of conflict for the family, which was what were the ages from 80 to 20 or something?
Oh yeah, no, it was like, they were kids. There were like 4 generations. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the biggest part of that though, I mean, that sounds great and it's fantastic and all the contacts we have. And I'm glad you mentioned the Department of State because that's important. Like we're not just picking up random vendors and cities across the world. But it's, somebody else actually planned this trip for them. We got introduced to them at the 11th hour, which is why we got the 5 days notice, because he was just looking for a change in his security. But the way our business model works, you get security, logistics, and hospitality all grouped into one, right? And so, we sort of struggled a bit with that. Like, do we just give him security? Do we actually give him our full business model? Like, how do we operate with this? And we determined like, hey, we just have to move forward with how we do this. So we integrate. We integrate really well, and we integrated with them in terms of somebody else planned it, but we had to figure out how do we provide security support, logistics support for things that were already set in motion. And that convoy was already set in motion.
Right.
And so that's
a pivot.
Yeah. So if we would have planned it from the beginning, we never would have actually done that with the convoy.
Right.
But while we were on site, while we were in South Africa, a prisoner got released, which created even more civil unrest in that city. And so that was the pivot for the helicopters.
Right.
So that's all really important information in terms of how quickly that we respond, how well we integrate with other people, and with if you've already got something set up, we can still work with people.
So with 5 days notice, were you able to do any advance work, or was it more simultaneous, get in there and start figuring out? I heard you describe the leapfrog idea, but that first trip in, were you able to get ahead of it?
Yeah, it was, it occurred. We did all the advance. We're pretty good at sort of mapping it out, and we can sort of compact things. We're going to go to a restaurant, but we're not going to spend 3 hours there having dinner. We're going to go in and talk to them 15, 20 minutes, get out there and move the next way. And we're doing it all sort of in the order of how the trip is flowing so that we can experience the routes. And there was another, the marathon, the big race that occurred. That was like this national race that we had to maneuver all of the routing around on the day that occurred as well. So, we were able to find all of that. It's one story
split
after
ops
another.
too, right? We had a team in Joburg, and then we had a team in other cities at the same time. So we were able to kind of pivot that way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I guess trying to plan for a president is pretty intense. I mean, so this is probably a cakewalk some days too.
Yeah, it gets your heart pumping when you see Air Force One, on its final, and it lands and then it spins around and you're like, here we go. I hope I thought of everything. And it raises your heart rate tremendously. But it's sort of cool too. We get that same feeling with our clients. We want to make sure that they have the safest, best experience that they've ever had, and the feedback that we get is incredible. We've had a husband and wife come talk to us at the end of the trip for 20 minutes and told us that it's the experience of a lifetime. They've never thought in their wildest dreams the things that they would get to do with their family. They had their oldest kids were about to age out to go to college, right? And they were trying to do these family events, memories before they went to school, and we put that together. And so we get that same exhilaration, that we did with the president, when you can take a family and provide these lifetime memories. We still keep in touch with them.
Oh yeah. Like I'm pretty sure she named her next child after you.
Wait.
I'm not kidding.
She named the child Sporto?
She named her London.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That's my new goal in life.
So I think that's a good segue to taste this first bourbon.
Yeah,
Lee.
So guys, we got 3 Glencairns right in front of you. They're in order. The first one in front of you is what we'll start with. So if you want to take a chance to take that and nose it and tell us what you think.
Yeah, it's been staring us in the face the whole time.
I hate to make you
Such
make your
a
mouth
tease.
water the whole time. So it's so this is these are all 3 somewhat similar.
Oh, it's delicious.
Were you supposed to taste it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know. I sort of jumped
Yeah,
in.
you nose and then taste and then
Oh.
It's good.
like
Yeah, you like that?
Very, very nice. Mm-hmm.
you like that. What do you think? What do you pick up on it?
Oh, what do you like? You know how to taste.
Caramel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was saying brown sugar, but yeah,
Okay.
that same category of just sort of toasted sugar.
Yeah.
There's some sweet here.
Yeah.
Lee.
Like
Delicious.
it.
Yeah.
So while we're doing this, the next thing I would like to know is, so what is the most difficult part that people don't see?
Oof.
Well, that's a good question. When we're on trip, our days are long.
Oh yeah.
We're up hours before the client, getting the house ready, breakfast set up, planning loading the cars with the kayaks, whatever needs to be done. And then we're in bed 2 hours after they're done. And they may, maybe a night on the town kind of thing. So the hours are long. You sort of get pumped from that. We've figured out a good rotation where we can sort of spell each other for a little bit during the right times, but sometimes it's nonstop.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one. I think, the complexity of some of these trips and how to, go from event to event to event and put it together. And then also to, Lindsay will laugh at this, not to take your personality into the trip, but to get their personality into the trip. So,
I love that. That's special.
yeah, like I'm an activities guy. I like to be active on a trip. That's my personality. That's not what people want on vacation all the time. They may want to have a more relaxing thing. And so really rely on the trip planners. Lindsay leads all of that effort to make sure it's in the personality of the clients, not in the personality of what we want to do. That's really important too.
Yeah.
So you agree? Yeah.
That's really good, Lee.
It is.
That's
good.
a good bourbon.
Now, I would say go on and nose the second one while we're at it.
We're moving
We're
quick here.
gonna come back. We're
Man.
gonna come back to these after we get through,
Okay.
and
So-
then you get to rank them
I-
up, and I'll
You
show
gestured to me. You said save a sip. Though.
I said save a sip,
Okay,
so
fine.
make sure you save some so you can go back to it and check it out in a
This is how
second.
the stories get good
Well,
towards
that's
the end of the
not normally
podcast.
how
Yeah.
we save, so this is good that I've been directed to save it.
Save low, and typically we go low proof to higher proof as we go. I assume that's
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's gonna get real fun.
So did I catch your name, Sporto?
Yeah,
Lord.
yeah. Well, I told you I like activities.
Yeah.
I like sports. Play as many as I can. I did not like the call sign when it was given to me in nav school.
Yeah,
But the alternatives were worse. So
I can only imagine.
yeah, which we will. I hope you don't.
I'm sworn
to secrecy,
secrecy.
especially in a public.
Oh, so you know the
environment.
alternative?
Oh yeah.
If you book the James Bond trip with us, we'll tell you.
We
what
will
that
tell
is.
you. And
Bonus.
We'll do your own call sign ceremony.
Oh, wow.
We would do.
Well,
that
yeah, we
for-
do. We do have a plan. So we have these 4, epic adventures. If somebody out there does all 4 of them with us, they'll get a military tactical call sign ceremony.
Yeah.
In the same way that the special ops guys do it. It's pretty special. So,
Yeah.
That's cool.
We've done it once for the Hamptons guys.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
did it for
they-
them.
mhm.
One of our first trips.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
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 So
All right. So what is Scott's, or should I ask him?
I
Can you
can tell.
say?
Yeah.
Rob's?
No,
No, Scott.
Scott's. I'm pretty sure it's Alpha.
Oh, more.
like Alpha Dog.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he gave it to himself.
Well, that fits. That fits. That's
exactly
old
right.
tricks.
That fits.
And he's legit.
And he was the only one that would have got away with it on the
yeah,
trip.
he's just
But,
because it's Scott.
yeah.
Yeah, so just so you guys know, if you're unfamiliar, if the listeners are unfamiliar, call signs are not always and should not be favorable to
Complimentary.
the person. Complimentary.
And the
at
bad
all.
part is the more you push against it, if the more you don't like
The
it,
more
people
it's
see
gonna
it, the
stick.
more it sticks,
Oh,
and
it
they
sticks,
love
yeah.
calling it to
So
you.
we had a couple of guys on that trip who did not get necessarily what they would consider.
They weren't bad. They just
weren't
don't
bad.
realize that they weren't bad because
Right.
I've heard some bad ones.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they weren't necessarily favorable for them, but they're not military guys, so they didn't know.
Yeah.
But they still
They
stuck.
saw Top Gun and they got inspired.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They asked for it. We didn't even have it on the itinerary.
Yeah, Scott led the charge.
Mm-hmm. It was fun.
As he should. Alpha.
Yeah, that was a great trip.
You've talked about the Hampton again. That's one that you've got on your website.
Yeah.
Showing some of your advanced work. How do some of the restaurants respond when you walk in ahead of time and say, "Okay, I've got this client coming in a couple of days.
Yeah.
I want to understand your vibe." Like, do they appreciate that? Do they play along, or do you get someone that just kind of looks at you kind of funny and goes, "Yeah, whatever"?
No, I don't think
do
we've
they
ever
understand?
had any, like, it's hospitality meets hospitality, right? And so that's how we look at it. So we represent our clients and we're there for their experience, and all of these restaurants are there for their clients' experiences as well. So when we introduce ourselves to a restaurant, owner, manager, wait staff, I mean, it's hospitality meets hospitality. We just describe what it is that we do, why it is that it's necessary. And most of the places that we're going with, the level of clientele we're going with, they expect to get some of this anyway, right? Yeah. They're accustomed to getting certain level of folks who are coming in there and certain level of service that's expected. So it actually always works really well, and it's absolutely necessary because nobody wants to be put at a table facing a wall.
Mm-hmm. Or by the door.
Or by the door, or by the bathroom, or by the kitchen. And so, I mean, it sounds as simple as like, getting the right table, but it's the difference in like, we do all this advanced work with the restaurants so that when we drop our clients off, we escort them to their table. It's not a matter of, waiting.
Already there
They don't wait for anything. They don't wait for a reservation. The appetizers are there. Things are already going.
And it's amazing how responsive they are when Rob's there with his earpiece, the little curly Q hanging down.
That looks serious.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. No problem. He just asked for a little bit of, extra service or drinks.
But honestly, like
whatever.
most restaurants are really excited. We generally get like a GM or a manager when we happen to be there, and or history being told, and they're excited to be able to display and exhibit their services and their hospitality.
Yeah, true.
Have you ever gone in and done the pre-work and said, not the right fit?
Yeah. Multiple times.
Oh yeah, well, you mentioned the paddleboard under. We were in Austin, and their place of business was under a highway, not acceptable.
Yeah, it was out of a trailer.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Under a viaduct.
We've gone to some restaurants.
I was like,
no bueno.
On the Hamptons
no
trip.
bueno.
The very first for us, one of our secret sauces, the first event, whatever it is, has to be spectacular. That helps get them sort of on board. Like, this is going to be the greatest trip. The rest, we had 2 restaurant choices for the very first restaurant in the Hamptons, and we advanced both of them, and we knocked one of them off the list like it wasn't even a starter because it just didn't present.
Well, also, let me just interject.
Yeah.
That was wildly real time because we lost an entire day of travel.
Oh yeah.
So we
because the airlines crumped out.
Yeah,
on
we
us,
usually go 2, 3, 4, 5 days in advance, depending upon where the trip is. And so we had 2 full days for the Hamptons, but we lost an entire day in travel. So some of the advance that we were doing was actual rolling advance. So we switched that first restaurant while the clients were landing.
We're getting picked up. Yeah.
I guess that's a pretty unfortunately common these days with airlines. Often having people getting delayed as much as an entire day and then having to adjust for that if they're on commercial.
Yeah, we have a lot of our clients that are on private jets, which eliminates that. Obviously, there's still some maintenance issues and things, but we do try to help them with a service provider that can provide them a backup airplane if they don't have their own, or we may advise them on if they're doing commercial what good timelines are, what's the right airlines, what's the most reliable flight of the day, so we can help guide them to help reduce some of those concerns that some people may not just inherently know.
Yeah, or fix their itinerary when
make it more
they're
efficient.
inevitably late.
Yeah.
Let's dive into number 3.
Number 3.
Number
that's
3.
Magic number.
This one looks a little darker. I like it.
Okay.
This one's a little richer.
Yeah, I can
But
see
that one's a lot
That
more.
one's
No, that's
delicious.
okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot more viscous.
Yeah, it is. It is. All right, so
Man, that's good. All of them are good.
This is
do you
Wilson,
rate
Wilson always says this is good. I've never heard you try a bourbon and go, not great.
so what do you think? 1, 2, 3.
I'm going with 3.
You're going with 3?
Yeah, I love 3. I really do like
I
it.
really like 3. And then
Like
1,
I still
and then 2.
feel it like in my
Yeah.
loins.
3, 1, 2.
1, 3, 2.
1, 3, 2.
3, 2, 1.
Blast off.
All right.
For Artemis.
You want to know what
All
we
right.
had?
Yeah, let's do
That'd be
it.
nice. Do you know what we had? He's
I do know
reach,
what we
he's
had.
reaching for his notes.
Just
No, I'm
make
reaching
some
for the bottles.
Oh, we're gonna get to see the labels.
Yeah.
Number one.
No.
Blue, no.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, wait. Yeah, let's. Bill's like
right,
easy with
sorry.
the tinking and the slinking.
Number 1 was Weller Special Reserve.
Love that. Always love that.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
Number two was the Blue Note Weeded, which has just now come out.
Welcome to the market. Yeah.
Oh.
Happy to see that
So
coming
you
out.
had a
that was
90 proof
excellent.
in the first one. You have a 101 in the second one. The third one was Green River Weeded Bourbon Foolproof
right.
at 100,
Weeded is the theme today.
109.3 proof.
So heavy weed on the mash bill. Green River. Are they Indiana?
No, they're Owensboro, Kentucky.
Okay.
So, which is interesting because that's the same exact place that Blue Note was distilled. You got a difference in the proof, and you got.
Yeah,
that
that's
may
good.
be a little older. I think that's probably closer to 7, 8 years, which might be where this one goes because this is only 5.5, 6 years old.
Okay. Yeah, I like that Green River. It's a
Yeah, it's
little
delicious.
spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
So-
going by Buster, pick up a bottle of that later.
Yeah, you definitely want to go by and pick
Yeah.
one of those up. That's a good bottle.
Is that Green River going to be hard to find, or will they probably have it on the shelf?
I probably have it on the shelf.
Well, we know Weller Special Reserve is getting easier to find, but not always.
Right.
Yeah, it's a monthly allocation.
And then I guess the Blue Note, it's there as long as you can find it, and when it's gone, it's gone. I'm
Well,
assuming.
it's going to be a shelf product. It's
Oh, good.
just now hitting the market in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And the Memphis market, they only gave 6 bottles to each store.
Oh, wow.
So if you can get that. Some stores there will be a single barrel of that. I actually have tasted that one, but it has not made it to the store yet. I know Corks at Farmington and Exeter will have that sometime here in the near future.
Good. So, by the way, if you're hearing background noises, folks, you know that my rabbit Toast likes to make an appearance. He's saying hello in there, so just ignore it.
Have you guys ever had a crazy request? Like, what's the craziest request? Like somebody, I want to blow something up, or rocket launcher, grenade, throw a
Do
grenade.
you get
something.
2 rocket launchers?
Well, yeah, we can get our hands on some things. But we would never tell you.
Lindsay might have a different answer, but that we talked about that helicopter trip in Africa. We told him that we're gonna have to talk to all of his 12 family members. We're gonna have to pack a little light because it's a helicopter. We don't have all the room in the airplane to put all their luggage. And his response was, just get a 3rd helicopter. We'll put the luggage on there.
Exactly.
Okay,
The luggage
sure.
helicopter.
Yeah, and so it became the luggage helicopter, and so we
Was there one kid that got stuck on the luggage helicopter, like at the kid table?
Actually, it was me. Actually, it was me.
Well, tell
And it's
about
pretty fantastic.
the time that the boys were acting up and they needed a special ride back.
Oh, yeah. So here's the thing that everyone should know about hiring Cadre. We literally do everything. So, yeah, we were in Hawaii and with 9 people or
Yeah.
so, and the teenage boys, and their teenage boys will be boys.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time, I think, you have 3 generations. Of course, it's a milestone trip, and everybody wants to have a great time. And the father who's paying for everything and also wants to experience all of this, right, with the entire family, he's not. He finally is in a position where he can just send his teenage boys with someone else when they're acting up. And so we were on the North Shore, and he was like, "I'm over it. Like, just take them back home." And so I was in a car with teenage boys.
Like an hour and a half ride
For an
home.
hour and a half
Yeah.
back home, which was totally fine. I have kids and teenage boys. And but then we get back to the house, and then they wanted to take the paddle boards into the...
They wanted to go surfing
They
on the
wanted to
paddle
go
boards.
surfing, and I was like, no, we cannot do this.
Just doesn't
Like, that
work.
is not something
Yeah,
that I can be responsible for necessarily. And then, so they put them in the pool. like at the house,
Yeah.
which also was not, well, that was a no bueno.
Yeah.
And then when you guys got back, I think they were distracted by everybody. No, they knew that everybody was going to be distracted. So then they took the paddle boards out to the ocean,
Yeah, outside the reef.
outside the reef.
Oh my gosh.
They were not good swimmers.
Had no idea what they were doing. Had no idea the danger.
Yeah.
Okay.
then-
And the mom comes up and says, I think they may need help. So I put on all of my...
No. They were just out there hanging out,
Yeah.
and we were paying attention.
Oh,
And we- 'cause we
somebody
want-
So it was
came-
Lindsay
somebody
who
came
noticed.
running to tell me.
Yeah, well, we wanted the family to have a good time, so they didn't know. They were none the wiser.
The kids were about to die.
But I was like, I'm pretty sure that's the reef. And I asked Rob to come out. I said, hey, Rob, will you come look at this? He's like, yeah, that's not great. But I can't go out there because he had just had neck surgery.
Yeah.
Minus from the bullet.
Not from the bullet,
something
another
else.
neck issue.
And Sporto over here, who's a great swimmer and all swim water activities. So he was out there.
Yes, I run back to the guest quarters, put on all, grab a kickboard, and I don't know. I think I might
Just a
have
kickboard?
flippers. I mean, that's all you need, right? Just to go save a couple boys' lives. It's no big deal. But
Current.
yeah, so
Baywatch, I've seen that.
I did a little David Hasselhoff on the sand.
Were you
and
in slow motion?
Then I threw the kickboard in there and swam to it, and then I'm once I got close enough where they could hear my voice, I'm giving them instruction to get back, and then they could barely walk. They were so tired.
I mean,
I think they
strapping
realized.
boys that
Just
Yeah,
fighting,
football
fighting
players.
current.
like they're big kids.
Against the current,
Oh no, they were toast.
People
Yeah.
die like that every day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
day.
So
Yeah.
they came back and they wanted help carrying their big paddle boards back. And I went into full dad mode, and I'm like, you guys got it yourself. And I walked ahead of them. They just dragged their tail all the way back to the
Yeah.
house.
Very satisfying.
Lesson learned. Lesson
So
learned.
fantastic.
anybody who's listening right now who's like, I don't think I could afford Cadre, the component of watching my teenage kids, I'm selling stock.
Priceless.
I'm making this happen.
That's exactly right.
Priceless.
Exactly
Bonus.
right.
That is
Have you
bonus.
ever had to say no? Is there anything that a client has brought to you and you're like, yeah, can't do it?
I would like to probably say we pride ourselves in not ever having to say no. We do provide alternatives. When somebody says, we need to go to the #1 restaurant in the world in Lima, Peru, because that's the whole reason we're going there, and there's a 12-month waiting list, we ask Lindsay to work her magic to figure out how to get us in there because it's so important to the clients. And she figures it out, and she is attacking it from 5 different directions. And it happens. And it happens on every one of the nuanced kind of things that are really important to our clients on these trips. And it really makes a difference.
Well, Mark and Lindsay, it's just we're so fascinated by your business model, and I hope our listeners get to enjoy this. And if nothing else, guys, go to their website and just get a better sense for what they do, because it's super unique. It makes a ton of sense. The days of just putting the family in the car and driving to the beach or going to Disney, people are still doing that, but they're looking for bigger, more elevated experiences. And you need to make sure you're doing this safely, and you're doing this in a way that is going to take care of all your needs, especially if you're going to go into some sort of higher risk experiences. So
Yeah.
I can imagine that you're getting lots of phone calls these days.
So is there a way that they can get in touch with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. The website you mentioned, the Cadre Experience, Cadre, CADRE, .com. We're on LinkedIn, pretty easy to get us. We don't really do a lot of advertising. It's usually referrals or word of mouth. That's what fits the style of our clients and the kind of trips that we do. They're pretty exclusive. They're pretty elusive kind of trips. So you're not going to see big marketing advertisement kind of things from us, but you're going to hear about it in smaller venues or somebody that's gone on a trip with us in our network. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Great. So what about us, Lee? I mean, we're a little easier to find than the Cadre
You know
Experience.
what? We want you to find us. Come find us at 3 Assorted Crackers. That's on Instagram. You can find us at 3 Assorted Crackers on YouTube, and it's all the number 3, and it's all one word. You can also send us an email at 3assortedcrackers@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We need to know, what is it that you want us to talk about? We need to know if there's a drink you want us to try, or bourbon you want us to try, a subject to cover in our conversations. You know that we've been responding to you, and we want you to know that we care what you have to say. So if you wouldn't mind, please like, share, follow, and subscribe. Those are some of our love languages.
We always talk about sort of making memories trying new flavors. You guys are a great catalyst for that. If anybody wants to step out in a big way, this is a good way to do it. So bring us home, Wilson.
Well, always be willing to try new flavors. And please, 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 please don't go stale.
Just don't go stale, folks.
So I don't know what to
Either
do.
way, it works.
Blood. It really is. Anyway, when you have blood from fingernails, stop.
So
This is going to be fun.
okay, it gets better.